All right, here in this video, I'm here with my friend Bo, and we decided to go to the Pickleball Kingdom in Chandler, Arizona to do some ground stroke drills and ground stroke practice. Pickleball Kingdom is a premier indoor facility. Actually, they're franchising right now. So if you know of anyone that would like to get involved into a pickleball business, or you would just like an indoor facility like this near your hometown, check out the link in the description below. We've put a link down there as Pickleball Kingdom is franchising, and they will be expanding to new locations all across the country. In this video, we're going to be talking about your drives or your ground strokes, whatever term you like to use. Obviously, ground strokes are very important in the singles pickleball game, but also very, very important in doubles. As you're playing doubles, you're definitely going to want to drive the ball at specific times, maybe when your opponents are back, or maybe when your opponents are in that transition. You definitely want to be able to hit good ground strokes from the baseline to put pressure on our opponents. Not only will we be talking about some specific drills that you can do, but we're going to be diving into ground stroke technique so that you can be very efficient and you can hit with good topspin and power. All right, as me and Bo hop on the court, I call this the 10 or 15-minute ground stroke warm-up, and you can see both of us trying our best to just hit ground strokes down the center of the court. We may be taking forehands or backhands, and again, we're just warming up our bodies, warming up our strokes, and really trying our best to work on good footwork and make sure that we are stepping into the ball and moving to the ball efficiently. One of the things that I've actually been working on in my game over the past 3 or 4 years is moving my contact point, especially on my forehand, more out in front. We hear that we need to hit the ball out in front all the time, but this is especially true with ground strokes. Again, we're gonna have the most power and control when we contact the ball out in front. So now let's look at a few of these forehands and backhands, and we'll take a deep dive on my footwork and also my technique. To start off, between every shot, you can see me split step, and you can see me in a fairly wide stance. I'm in a good athletic stance, and I typically hold my paddle in a forehand Eastern grip. Being in an Eastern forehand grip, it allows me to get a little bit more topspin and actually get topspin a little bit easier. So that's why I play in a forehand Eastern grip. And then when it comes to my backhand, I'll just switch to continental. But here you can see my stance, and the first thing that you'll notice is my unit turn. As soon as I see that ball coming towards my forehand side, you will see me start to rotate my hips and my shoulders, and you will see me try to get in more of a closed stance. So I'm going from an open stance to a closed stance. This is what we call a unit turn. When we are turning our hips, our shoulders, and our body, we are turning it to a closed position at the same time. The next thing you'll see is a compact backswing. It's not really big, but I am taking my paddle back and I'm going to get ready to drop it down. You can see that. Again, if you're coming from tennis or maybe from another racket sport, in this game, we want to keep our backswings and our strokes fairly compact, but it's definitely okay to have a medium-sized backswing here. When it comes to power, one of the main factors to gaining power is our weight transfer. So you can see here, after I do my unit turn, my weight here is on my back foot, which is my right foot, and then you can see me stepping into the ball, stepping in with my left foot. This is the ideal way to hit your ground strokes. Again, if you're trying to get maximum power, you want to be able to step into the ball. Now, you can't do this every time. Obviously, there's sometimes the ball would be pushing you back, but if the ball is fairly shorter, you definitely want to be stepping in. And notice here, I'm actually using my left hand here. I'm putting it out, kind of using it as a guide, and it also helps me balance. A lot of times I see players hitting their ground strokes or drives on their forehand side, and they just have their offhand or their non-paddle hand just by their side. You definitely want to get that hand out there to help you balance and stay stable. Okay, as I start to swing for the ball, you can see my shoulders open up slightly and you can see my core and my hips rotating through. And look at my paddle position. This is called a laid back wrist. Again, we do not want to have a very, very stiff wrist when we are hitting ground strokes. You can see that my paddle head really drops down here. And at this point here, it is pointed towards the floor, towards the ground. And then look at my contact point here. This one is pretty good contact. It's out in front, I'm well balanced. And during impact point or contact point, you can see my chest and my hips is more so facing the net. So before, when I do my unit turn, when I'm waiting for the ball, getting ready to strike it, again, my chest and my hips are facing towards the side fence. But during impact or contact point, now I have rotated my hips, rotated my shoulders, and now during contact, they are facing my target. The last thing that I want to mention is my follow through up towards my left shoulder or my left ear. Again, if you're a right-handed player, for your forehand, you're definitely going to want to be finishing high and over your left shoulder. Notice that the side of the paddle that hit the ball is going to be facing away from my head, and that is just the correct way to finish. Lastly, notice after every hit, I'm trying to get back into a good ready position. So I come back, set my feet, and then you can see me split step, which is a little hop. I come off the ground maybe an inch or so that I can land and I can explode to my left or to my right or maybe forward if I need to. Again, the biggest thing for ground strokes, I think, is really creating the right space in between you and the ball and getting that contact point out in front. Again, there's a lot of adjusting even in this drill as we're hitting back and forth. We're hitting forehands at times and backhands, but again, you really want to be able to assess where that ball is bouncing. And at times we're gonna have to go to our left, we're gonna have to go to our right. Sometimes we get short balls, we're really gonna have to get up there and step in. And sometimes we get pushed off the line a little bit and we may have to hit our ground strokes falling back at times. I know that's not ideal, but again, we do want to hit that ball out in front if we can. And we do also want to make sure we have good technique starting from low and finishing high above our shoulder. So again, this is like a warm-up ground stroke drill. This is something that you're definitely going to have to work up to, right? If you cannot consistently hit ground strokes back and forth like this, I would just recommend that you just start off really slow and really look at your swing speed. Don't swing really, really fast. I would swing at 20 or 30% of your power just to get consistent balls over the net. And again, as you and your partner get better and better, then your rallies will get longer and longer. Hi, if you're enjoying this content, go ahead and give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you're interested in exclusive on-court training with me, go ahead and go to brionespickleball.com/coaching. Now, let's get right back to the video. Now actually, let's hop into my backhand. I know this isn't the best angle, but I do want to talk about the two-handed backhand. And we have done several videos on the two-hander, so we'll leave that in the description. Here we go. The first thing on my backhand is, again, my unit turn. Kind of like my forehand, you will see me stepping back or stepping up to get in a close stance. I really want to get my dominant shoulder face towards my target. This is how I can get the most power and rotation on my shot. And you can see here that I plant my left leg first, and then I plant my right foot so that I have my momentum going forward. From this angle, you can see where I have my paddle before I strike the ball. Again, I'm just getting into my right foot plant, and you can see kind of where my paddle is laid back here. This is a strong position here. I'm well balanced. I'm leaning forward with my momentum because I just stepped in with my right foot, and you can see both hands on the paddle here. Now from here, I'm going to be swinging from low to high. And again, having adequate spacing and not having this ball too far away from you or too close to you is key. So your footwork is really, really important when you're hitting your ground strokes. And the same thing here, but the opposite as the forehand, I'm going to be swinging from low to high, and I'm going to be finishing over my right shoulder. So if you're a right-handed player, you're going to be hitting the ball, striking the ball out in front, and then you will be finishing over your right shoulder. And again, kind of the same concept here. You can see the side of the paddle that hits the ball. When I finish, that's actually going to be faced away from my head. Okay, that's really, really important. As we are learning good technique, we want to have a good follow through and good finish. And just like the forehand, you can see, again, it's really, really important to try to get into this closed stance. I think that this is really, really important when you're learning the two-handed ground stroke. But again, as I'm waiting for this ball, you can see me load my weight in my back foot and then step in with my right foot. And then you can see my shoulder really, really closed off. You can see it facing my target. Now, when I'm going to hit the ball, you can see my shoulders open up and my chest open up towards the net. And then after I finish, rotating fully. From this angle here, you can't see the back of my SELKIRK logo, right? And then when I finish, you can totally see my SELKIRK logo. So that core rotation, and as I'm rotating, that's what gets a lot of that power. Again, in this angle, you can see me load, and then you can see the back of my SELKIRK logo here in this angle. And then as I finish, you will see the SELKIRK logo on my chest, right? So that is how we get full rotation. And again, when we talk about topspin, it's that low to high motion which creates it. So that's why we want to be swinging up towards our right shoulder. So that was the ground stroke drill there. We're just warming up our ground strokes, working on our footwork, trying to work on our contact point, making sure that's well out in front. And again, we're getting warmed up. Now let's get to the next drill. All right, so now we move on to cross court, even side to even side forehands. If you're both right-handed players, you are going to be hitting a lot of forehands. This is a really good drill for singles, but again, for doubles, this also works on your ground strokes. It's working on your footwork, it's working on your contact point, and obviously you're going to be working on your technique, getting to the ball and recovering back. You can see that if you're doing this correctly and you're doing it right, you can see me running out to the ball, hitting it, getting all the way back towards the center of the court, and then trying to split step. Again, obviously we know that we are both hitting the ball cross court, even side to even side, but you can make this as easy as hard as you want. You could kind of just sit there on the even side and just work on your forehand ground strokes, and that's totally fine. But if you want to make this a cardio workout and actually practice more for singles, you can come out, hit your forehand, then try to recover quick back towards the middle, and then you can go out to the next ball after your split step. All right, now we move on to the backhand side. It's the same thing. Again, if you're both right-handed players, you're going to be rallying from the odd side to the other odd side, and the same kind of thing. You can make it as easy or as hard as you want. On this one, I think I was a little tired, so I'm not recovering all the way back to the center every time, but I am making sure that I slide over a little bit so that I can run out and hit the ball. Again, just like we talked about the technique, I want to make sure that I'm getting into more of a closed stance and I'm stepping in with my dominant foot. So I'm a right-handed player. I'm doing my best to get set up with my unit turn very early, set my left foot down, and then I'm going to be stepping in with my right foot. This is going to help me stay well balanced and get my body and my momentum moving forward so that I can hit through that ball. For those of you that are wondering what paddle I'm using right now, this is the SELKIRK SLK Halo, and this is the elongated XL version, the 16 millimeter. This is my current paddle of choice. If you would like to purchase one of these, I think it's a really great paddle. We'll leave a link in the description below. All right, now we're gonna hop into the hardest drill in this video, and this is the figure 8 drill. you will see Bo feeding the ball cross court, and then I'm going to be hitting the ball down the line, and then he will be hitting the ball cross court and I'll be hitting it down the line. So again, in this, you're going to have the person hitting the ball down the line running a lot more, right? Again, you guys can switch off as one person is dedicated hitting down the line and the other will be dedicated to hitting the ball cross court. This is a really great drill for singles, probably one of the best ones when it comes to ground strokes. It takes a lot of control. It is a good cardio workout, and it just works on your footwork and really works on how to get to the ball quickly, move to the ball, and then execute a good ground stroke. All right, so here we switch. I'm feeding it cross court, and then Bo's hitting down the line. He's hitting down the line with all of his shots, and every shot that I receive, I'm hitting it cross court. So you can see here, obviously, the person who is hitting down the line is working the hardest. This is kind of the way that the drill is designed, and it makes sense, right? When the person is hitting cross court, you are hitting with a lot of angle so that the other player is forced to move a lot. Again, this is one of the best drills possible that you can do for your control and ground strokes. And for a lot of you, you may have to really work on a lot of things before you can do this. You can always do this at different levels. You can do this hitting really hard, or you can even do this same drill, but you guys can both hit at 20, 30, or 40%. You don't have to hit it as hard as you can and go really hard like this. It's really about having good control and learning how to get to the ball quickly, create enough space, set your feet, and then swing. Hopefully you really like this video. If you like the format of this video, leave a comment below and tell us what you think. Again, hitting drives and learning how to hit good drives and ground strokes is very important for singles, but even for doubles, right? If you want to improve your ground strokes, you want to improve your third shot drive, these are some of the drills that you can do. Go ahead and go out there with a partner, put it into practice. Make sure that you watch this video again if you really want to look at the technique, correct technique of a forehand and a backhand. And again, thanks so much. We'll see you in the next video. For exclusive pickleball content from me, check out BrionesPickleball.com. For awesome pickleball paddles like this one, make sure to check the link in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Live your life within the moment, and don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away.